please, if you haven't listened to the first part of this series, go watch it on the channel. You'll find it in the first comment and also in the description below the video. And believe me when I tell you this, if you haven't watched the previous parts, you won't understand anything we're going to talk about today. Of course, the last thing we saw in the previous season was that Eleven disappeared completely. Will returned to his mother, and we saw him in the bathroom coughing up part of the monster from his mouth, and we didn't know why. In general, the events of Season 2 begin 1 year after the events of Season 1. We see a gang that was robbing a place, but the police arrive and start chasing them. Among this gang is a girl named Callie, and Callie has supernatural powers. She can control things remotely and can create illusions. She makes the police chasing them believe that a collapse is happening inside the tunnel, so all the police stop. But nothing actually happens. It was just an illusion she created to stop them. We then see that Callie has the number 8 on her arm, exactly like the one 11 had. Focus on this point because we'll need it in the next part. After that, we move to our group, Dustin, Lucas, Will, and Mike, who go to an arcade and keep playing there. They notice that someone named Mad Max is playing and getting very high scores, so they ask one of the workers who knows who Mad Max is. At the same time, Will isn't focused with them at all because he sees the world changing around him. He starts hallucinating and sees himself in the upside down. Then we move to Chief Jim, who is visited by a private investigator named Murray. Murray suspects that Eleven is still alive and that Russian agents kidnapped her. He's afraid because her supernatural powers are like a powerful weapon that the Russians could use to start a war. But Jim doesn't believe him, mocks him, and tells him that Eleven died a long time ago. After Murray leaves, Jim goes to investigate a case at a farm. The owner suspects that someone sabotaged his pumpkin crops right before Halloween to cause him financial loss since pumpkins are heavily used on Halloween. Jim discovers that not only this farmer was affected, almost all the crops in town are being destroyed. We return to Will and his friends at school, where a new student from California joins them. Her name is Maxine, but she tells the teacher that everyone calls her Max. Here, Lucas, Dustin, and the others realize that the person who is getting higher scores than them in the arcade, the one named Mad Max, is actually Maxine. They're all impressed by her and want to talk to her, but they don't get the chance because Will's mom comes and takes Will with her. Later, Will's friends talk about how they feel that Will has changed a lot and become a different person since he returned from the Upside Down, and that they don't know exactly what happened to him there. Will's mom takes him to meet Jim, since they're friends if you didn't know. Then, they go to the doctor who's following Will's psychological condition. The doctor asks Will how he feels when he has hallucination episodes. Will says he feels like there's an evil entity standing in front of him and that this evil wants to kill everyone. After the session ends, the doctor tells Will's mom and Jim that Will's condition will get worse because the memories are not leaving his mind and the episodes may become more frequent and intense, but eventually he will improve and get better. However, what's important is that we see people from the lab monitoring Will's sessions through cameras and knowing everything that's being said. After Will's mom leaves the doctor's office, she talks with Jim, and we see that neither of them trusts this doctor at all, and their suspicion turns out to be correct. We see the doctor meeting with people from the lab where they're still conducting their strange experiments on people. We leave the lab for a bit and go back to Dustin and Lucas, who are spying on Max until they see her enter the arcade to confirm that she really is Mad Max. When they confirm it, they're amazed. Nancy and her boyfriend Steve go to visit Barb's parents, and they learn that the parents are selling their house to hire a private investigator, Murray, to investigate Barb's case. They still have hope that she's alive. Nancy hears this, leaves, and walks away. Later, Nancy is sitting with Steve, and we notice that she's not okay at all. She keeps remembering Barb everywhere. She talks to Steve, and we learn that the lab threatened them. If they tell Barb's parents that Barb is dead, they'll kill them and their families. That's why Nancy is suffering. She can't tell Barb's parents the truth while watching them sell everything to find their daughter, believing she's alive when she's actually dead. Steve warns Nancy not to say anything, and she listens to him. That night, we see Jim returning home, and we realize he's not living alone. Eleven is living with him. We go into a flashback and learn how Eleven ended up with Jim. After killing the monster, she went into the Upside Down but managed to find the gate and come back out. She went to Mike's house and found police and investigators asking about her, so she ran into the woods. Jim found her there and took her to live with him to keep her safe. They agreed she would hide until everything settled down so she wouldn't be captured again. Back to the present, 11 asks Jim to let her go out because it's Halloween, but Jim refuses because he's afraid for her. When he sees her upset, he promises to come back early so they can spend the day together. It's clear that Jim is very attached to her, like she's her daughter. He also teaches her how to speak since she can barely talk. Not only 11 wants to go out for Halloween, Will does too. When getting ready, his mother notices he drew a picture resembling the Upside Down. When she asks him about it, he lies and says it's just a normal drawing. She doesn't believe him, so she shows the drawing to Jim. They notice it resembles a place near their house, but altered like the Upside Down. Jim tries to reassure her that it's just PTSD and that Will is fine. What Jim doesn't know is that the lab is still conducting experiments. We see one of the lab workers entering the Upside Down to fix cameras so they can monitor it. At the same time, they review Will's sessions and try to interpret what he's seeing. 11 also starts having strange visions, seeing herself hunting an animal in the woods, cooking it, then a man appears and she throws the animal at him while it's burning, then runs away. These are strange and unclear visions, but they're just memories or hallucinations. Jim investigates another pumpkin farm where all the crops were poisoned. He discovers the same sticky substance found in the Upside Down. Then we see Max going home with her brother, Billy. Billy hates the town and hates Max because he blames her for their move. He's so reckless that he almost runs over Lucas, Dustin, and Mike on their bikes, but Max stops him at the last second. At night, Halloween celebrations begin. Nancy and Steve attend a Halloween party. Nancy drinks heavily, causes a scene, fights with Steve, and he leaves. Jonathan arrives and takes her home, and it becomes clear they're developing feelings for each other. Meanwhile, the kids go trick-or-treating. Max joins them and they start becoming friends. Will, however, has another hallucination and sees a huge monster. He runs away, then returns to the real world. He tells Mike he saw a monster much bigger than the Demogorgon. Jim forgets his promise to 11 because he's busy investigating the crops. 11 is alone, upset, and tries to contact Mike with her powers but fails and starts crying. Dustin hears noises from his trash can and finds a small reptile-like creature. He names it Dart, hides it, feeds it chocolate, and doesn't realize it's growing fast and screaming like a monster. He buys books to learn how to care for it and shows it to his friends. Will realizes it looks exactly like the creature he coughed up before and becomes worried. Jim investigates another pumpkin farm where all the spoiled crops are near the lab and threatens the lab director. Meanwhile, Bob, Joyce's boyfriend, shows her a Halloween video where people mock Will as the zombie boy. Joyce rewatches the video and notices a monster in the background, identical to Will's drawings. The kids try to kill Dart, but it grows stronger and escapes. 11 disobeys Jim and goes out. A woman reports her to the police and Jim rushes to find her. 11 finds Mike but sees him with Max and gets jealous, using her powers to make Max fall. Mike realizes 11 is alive and searches for her but can't find her. Will encounters Dart in the bathroom, flees, enters the Upside Down, and faces the giant monster, which enters his body. Will collapses at school and is taken home. Joyce notices his temperature is dangerously low. 11 returns to Jim. They argue, she destroys the house with her powers, then they reconcile. Nancy decides to tell Barb's parents the truth, but the lab kidnaps Nancy and Jonathan, manipulates them, and releases them. Nancy secretly records everything. Will speaks strangely, asks for cold water, and draws tunnels that Joyce realizes connect underground. Jim digs and discovers massive vine tunnels beneath the town. 11 finds files about her mother, Terry Eves, and learns her real name is Jane. She discovers Terry is alive, communicates with her, and learns that she is her daughter. Dustin finds Dart that it has grown huge and kills his cat. Jim discovers the underground tunnels beneath the town. And here ends part 1 of season 2 of Stranger Things, with Jim shocked by what he found. If you want to know what happens next, wait for the summary of the rest of the season in the next video.
If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.